Welcome back to another episode of the Pickle Pulse. I am your host, Brian Green, and today we are going to do another paddle review. But this time we're going to do something very innovative, very different. And to be quite honest, I was a bit skeptical before I grabbed this paddle, and I'll tell you why. The paddle we're going to talk about today is the Om Aero1. So I wanted to review this paddle because it is 100% unique in the industry. And the reason why is this area right here. I saw this online and I was like, wow, is this plastic that is connected to a paddle face? I wonder if it flexes. I wonder how it feels. Anyway, I reached out to them. Johnny at Om sent me one. He is the man. This is a uniquely British designed paddle. And let me tell you just a little bit about it. First of all, I love to review innovative and new technology. And this is a first of its kind pickleball racket. Om decided that they were going to create something for tennis players. And so they started everything out by creating a thermoformed carbon fiber pickleball racket case. And you'll see it here on the screen. It is very unique and actually lends itself to many different innovations moving forward in the new paddles that they'll be dropping. What is very cool about this is because the racket frame is there, they do not have to do any foam injected walls in order to add to the twist weight, to increase the sweet spot size. And also it gives a very mild trampoline effect once the face is inserted around the pickleball racket. Nothing crazy or illegal, but you can definitely tell that the dwell time is increased because of how they manufacture this paddle. After they've thermoformed the pickleball racket, the encasing, they then add the interior of the paddle. They developed a super polymer hexium core that they then thermoform with 3K carbon fiber weave over the top to create the paddle. What this does is it reduces the vibration overall, which will reduce tennis elbow. It also allows the paddle to flex in the center, as I said, giving it a bit of a trampoline effect. So let's talk about the specs of the paddle. As I said, it is a 3K T700 full carbon fiber edgeless paddle. So I actually didn't say that it's edgeless before, and that is always something scary because with an edgeless paddle, you will typically lose some of the forgivability of a paddle. And so with this one, I was very intrigued to see with the shape of it and how they have designed it, whether or not it would feel like a Power Air or feel like a Black Diamond Infinity or any of those paddles that just quickly tell you when you're not hitting the ball the right way. So let's talk about the shape of this paddle. It is a traditional shape and it's 15.75 inches long with 8.1 inches wide, which is just a little bit wider than most of the wide body out there. It is 230 grams or 8.1 ounces, and they are really tight on this number. It says on their website they're striving to have 90% of them come in at 8.1. Mine actually came right in at 8.1. I put a overwrap on it, and I'll show you right here on my scale that with the overwrap it came out to 8.2 ounces. The grip length is 5 inches. I think this is one of the only beefs that I have, and it's not really a beef. I enjoyed playing with it. I had plenty of room for my two-handers, but I'm finding more and more that I like a 5.5, a 5 3/4, even a 6-inch handle on my paddles. So this is a 5-inch handle, and the grip circumference is about 4 inches, which I absolutely love because I'm finding that I like a thinner grip because I'm always going to put my Gamma or my Wilson Comfort over grip on the paddle, and therefore it feels thinner in my hand, which allows better flicks on the backhand side, and I find that it just allows me to grip the paddle a little more comfortably. In thickness, it's 14 millimeters, which I would say typically means that it's going to go a little more towards the power side. On this particular one, this is a control paddle, guys, and we'll talk about the playability of this moving forward. But at 14 millimeters, it does have good pop. It does have good power, especially because of how the racket is made, and you feel that flex in the face on your drives. But I will say that in the pop department, it is going to be middle of the road, somewhere around there. The swing weight is 109, which you would find in most traditional shapes. What I did find about this particular one is that it felt exceptionally fast in the hands. Not quite as good as the Lux LX that I play with, because that is absolutely the lightest paddle I've ever played. But I will say very, very close. And the twist weight is a 7.0. And that is the key to this paddle, in that the sweet spot is huge on this. As a matter of fact, I'm going to pull out of the mark here, and I want to show you guys, because this is 8.1 from here to here. I would say this sweet spot is here. It is huge on this paddle. And no matter where I'm hitting it on the face, I can tell whether I'm hitting it just right in the sweet spot or not. But the ball consistently comes off the face very similarly. And I found that for resets, for drops, playing the soft game in pickleball, this is one of the best paddles that I have ever experienced in that world. Now let's talk about the pop and power of the paddle. So as I said, the way that they make it with a racket on the outside, and then they double thermoform the exterior and the core into it, creates a bit of a trampoline effect. Nothing crazy like a Gen 3 Yola, but you can feel it, and the ball dwells in the face, and you can feel it popping off when you hit it just right. And the good news is, with the humongous sweet spot, this paddle feels just right a lot. When I talk about power for a paddle, I'm always going to go to the gearbox, because in my opinion, it is the most powerful paddle on the market. And so if a gearbox is a 10, and let's go, the Selkirk Lux is a 0, I'm going to put this paddle at a 4 or 5, somewhere right in the middle. You definitely can generate power with it. I felt like I could swing fully with the paddle, and when you're swinging through and you catch it just right, it feels amazing. The pop of this paddle felt very similar to most of the 16 millimeter paddles that I've tried out on the market, in that it is about middle of the road. I would say you're not going to catch people off guard as you're doing your punch volleys with this paddle. But what I will say is, because again, the face is so big and it's so consistent, that I found in hands battles, I was getting more balls back over the net. This paddle, in my opinion, should be in the hands of every person that is 4-5 or less. And the reason being is, at the 4-5 level, you are working on that soft game. You've probably got good drives. You've probably hit through most of your 4-0 friends, and you're trying to move up. And as you get to the 4-5 and 5-0 level, you are realizing that you can't hit through players. They're going to hit it back at you harder. And so working on that soft game, hitting quality thirds that are dropping in the kitchen, and being able to reset in that transition zone is one of the most important things to getting to the 4-5 level and the 5-0 level. Now, once you get above 5-0, that's where you have to develop some tricks, do some things a little different, attack in different spots, off speeds, things of that nature. Now, this paddle in the hands of everyone under 4-5 will help you to do all of those things. I have had the most fun in the past 2 weeks playing with this and just playing a soft game. It's not my traditional game, but hitting quality drops and then being able to reset in those transition zones feels so good. I mean, it is one of those experiences that, especially for a guy who would consider himself a banger first, to be able to do that consistently and well against high-level players feels awesome. And I think that is why you should really consider this paddle. It's super forgiving. It feels amazing. It's quality constructed and durable. And finally, I want to talk about spin. So I'm going to let you hear this, okay? So I always like to do the little microphone test, because you can really tell the grit levels on a paddle. And this is going to be a finer 3K grit, which means that when you're rubbing your finger along it, it doesn't feel like the most coarse sandpaper. But what I will tell you is it grabs the ball exceptionally well. And because of the way that it's constructed, the dwell time on the paddle face creates a ball that will grab and then roll or cut. It's not a top tier spin paddle, so I wouldn't put it at a 8 or a 9 or a 10 like a Proton or like a Pro XR or like a Gen 3 Eula. But I will say that it's definitely in line with the Thrive Azul that I've been playing with, the Huarache X's. So it gets good quality spin. And if you're hitting the ball correctly with the right strokes, then you're going to be able to do all the things that you want to do with this paddle. If you guys are intrigued by the paddle, you can find them at ompickleball.com. That's ompickleball.com. And you can save using my code OMXPulse10. These guys come in at $250. With my code, they'll be $225. The one thing I will say is that this is a paddle that you're going to buy and it's going to last. I've been playing with it for a couple of weeks. I've seen no deterioration on the grit. I've dropped it a couple of times. As you can see, there are some nicks and bangs. I didn't put any edge tape on it, and the paddle is really held up well. So again, ompickleball.com. You can find these. Use my code OMXPulse10, which I'll put on the screen here. And you can get a paddle that you'll be playing with for the next year and a half or so that is consistent, that feels great, and will give you the confidence to be able to get to the kitchen line again and again. If you've enjoyed these videos, I appreciate you watching. If you could just do me a little favor and hit the subscribe button, and also like this video, tell me what I could do or couldn't do better. And until next time, I'll see you guys on the courts. Peace.